You ever scroll through your feed and notice some people are just missing? They're practically ghosts on social media. No updates, no vacation photos, nothing. In our super connected world, it can seem pretty weird, right? Well, it turns out there's some really fascinating psychology going on just beneath the surface. So today, let's dive into the surprising mindset of people who choose to stay private online.
Right? It's the first question that pops into our heads. When someone's quiet online, it's so easy to jump to conclusions. We think, are they unhappy? Is their life just boring? Or maybe, just maybe, they're hiding something. It's a totally natural curiosity, but as we're about to see, it usually points us in the completely wrong direction.
So let's break this down. On the one hand, you've got this myth that a private person must have a problem. But the reality? Well, psychologists say it's way more interesting than that. These folks don't necessarily lack things to share. Instead, they just operate with a totally different mindset when it comes to things like attention, identity, and where they get their validation from.
And that leads us right into the first key idea, privacy over performance. For a lot of people, life isn't a stage. Daily moments aren't scenes in some big performance for an online audience. It's all about what's going on in their internal world.
I mean, think about it. For some people, broadcasting a beautiful sunset to hundreds of followers just feels less special. It's not as meaningful as just sharing that quiet moment with the one person next to you, or honestly, even just with yourself. They'd rather keep those personal experiences within a small, trusted circle because they feel it keeps the moment real and authentic.
Now, this whole preference for privacy, it's deeply connected to a really crucial psychological idea, validation. Where we get our sense of self-worth plays a huge role in how we act online. It really all comes down to our internal compass.
And let's be real, most social media platforms are basically built on external validation. The likes, the comments, the shares, the whole system is designed to give us these little hits of approval from the outside world. And for many people, that public feedback is a huge source of feeling good about themselves.
But for the folks we're talking about, the ones who rarely post, that compass points inward. They rely on internal validation. What that means is their self-worth comes from their own values and their own standards. They just don't need a public reaction to feel like their experiences are valid or meaningful.
This is such a powerful idea, isn't it? Someone who is internally validated doesn't need that big spike of attention from a birthday post to feel seen or celebrated. Their sense of who they are is consistent. It's this quiet confidence that doesn't shoot up and down based on what other people think.
So what they do is create a very intentional boundary. And look, this isn't about being secretive or anything. It's really about protecting their mental health. Research actually shows that keeping this separation reduces the stress of having to turn your personal identity into online content. Their life is for living, not for constantly curating.
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to a preference for quality over quantity. They'd much rather share a meaningful story with a few close friends who really get it than broadcast a perfectly polished version to hundreds of followers for just a fleeting moment of attention.
Okay, so this brings us to the next big piece of the puzzle, the battle for our own attention. Because every single time we think about posting something, our focus gets split. It forces us to choose between actually living a moment and just documenting it.
Just think about what happens in your brain. You're having a great time, right? But then, a part of your mind just switches gears. It starts thinking about the audience, the best angle, the cleverest caption, and all of a sudden, you're not fully in the experience anymore. Your attention is split between being present and producing content for other people.
And for the people who stay offline, this isn't some big, complex calculation they're making. It's more of an intuitive choice. The richness of the actual experience, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, right then and there is just so much more valuable to them than the digital echo of that moment.
And you know what? This choice, it goes way beyond just social media. It taps into a fundamental human need that explains so much about who we are, the need for autonomy. It's all about feeling like you're in the driver's seat of your own life. Autonomy is that core feeling that you are the author of your own story. So, choosing not to post, that is a huge expression of autonomy. It's you deciding for yourself which parts of your life are just for you, and which, if any, are for others. It's a way of protecting your experiences from social pressure and keeping them truly your own.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, a completely new picture starts to emerge. We're not looking at people who are anxious or unhappy. We're looking at the quietly confident. These are people who value their privacy over getting attention, who get their sense of worth from within, who draw a clear line between their real life and their online life, who seek out deep connections, and who, above all, focus on the experience itself.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. In a world that's constantly screaming at us to share everything, what if the richest, most incredible, most meaningful moments of your life are the ones you never post? Maybe, just maybe, true contentment doesn't actually need an audience.